It doesn't matter which one you call it for me. I'll recognize both. A lot of your English teachers will call it a preview. And its purpose is that it is the roadmap for your audience. You are literally standing up in front of them and saying, we're going here first, here second, here third. This is the map for today. You guys, audience members have horrible attention spans.
I sit back there so I'm not in the way of the camera.
Yeah? Audience members have horrible attention spans, you guys. We're not necessarily great listeners. As long as you two don't bother each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our attention starts up here. You got our attention with attention getter, and then all of a sudden you dive down below the surface and start thinking about what's for lunch today. Then you come back up, and then all of a sudden you worry about what's going to happen in your next class, okay? So you've got to give your audience this forecast ahead of time and tell them where you're headed. So when their attention span goes away and comes back, they recognize where you are in your speech because you already gave them the order you were going to talk about things about. And then they're not lost. The forecast is pretty simple. It lists the main points in order. Now, in a speech, this is going to be one of the differences between a speech and a paper. In a speech, you always start with flag words. Flag words are things like today we will discuss, in the next few minutes we will. We never start with the words in this speech, okay? So you would start out and say something along the lines of like yesterday's. There are many different types of fireworks that are used in celebrations around the world. In the next few minutes, we will explore the different types of fireworks, starting with pinwheels that were used in weddings across the Middle East. Then we will move on into the skyrocket, which was used in the New Year for Thailand. And finally, we will land on the pinwheel, which is used in the 4th of July celebrations throughout the United States. Totally making that up, right? But see what I'm saying? I give my thesis, and then I give my 3 main points in my forecast. Think of your flag words when you say, in the next few minutes or today we'll discuss. Your flag words are like standing up at the front of the classroom and saying, hey, I'm about to tell you where I'm headed, so everybody pay attention. I'm flagging you down to give you the order. It's a way to slow it down, to let the audience have it announced to them that you're about ready to give those main points. Please star this box right here. Star it, star it, star it. The one that says do not use flag words when writing a paper in English class. Your English teachers will often start the conversation with you by saying you are not writing a speech, you are writing a paper. This is one of the things they're talking about, okay? Do not start an English forecast with in this paper or in the next few minutes. That is something you do for a listener, not a reader. So don't do it in an English paper. So these are your rules. You cannot say I in your forecast. You cannot quick list, which I'll explain. You must list the main points. Your forecast can only be 1 sentence. It has to have the flag words, and once again, we need to mention the topic. This is what I mean by quick listing. In the next few minutes, we will talk about main point 1, 2, 3. I quick listed it. You need to put little miniature transition words in there, like in the next few minutes, we will talk about main point 1. Then we will move on into main point 2. And finally, we will discuss main point 3. You have to put those little miniature transition words in there to slow it down. Because once again, we're bad listeners. And if the whole purpose of the forecast is to slow down so the audience knows where we're going, you better take your time so that they have time to listen and process. So we don't quick list. Is there anyone who does not understand what I mean by that? Okay, all right, look at these, just like you did yesterday. Same process we went through with thesis statements. Go through and read them and figure out what's wrong with them. Some of them may have more than one problem.
Can you help me?
I want you to read the rules and give it a shot, and then we'll see where you have a mistake. I want you to try it so I know where you're stuck. So read one, and then go through each and you can ask yourself what.
It
statement is supposed to be
And, yeah,
Okay.
So you can't use it.
you can't use I. Quick list means today I'm gonna talk about 1, 2, 3. And didn't list them at all means I didn't tell you what my main points were gonna be about. So a quick list. If I just say, today I'm gonna tell you about main points 1, 2, and 3, instead of today I'm gonna tell you about main point 1, then I'm gonna move on to 2, and finally we'll talk about 3. That's quick listing. If I don't list them at all, then I didn't list them, and that's E. So you're wrong either way. They've gotta be there, they've gotta stay there. Make sense? Once I see everybody's got them all, we'll go on. Finish up before the rest of the class does, and you didn't finish your worksheet from yesterday, you can work on your thesis statements. Last two that you attended. So read it and walk through all the stuff, right?
Today we will look at one here, 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 here,
the topic, do you know what
Did you get the next one? All right, let's take a look. Today I will discuss the mysteries behind home remedies by first stirring up the influence of ancient civilizations. Next, we'll boil down how the compounds of the ingredients work, and finally, we'll prescribe the right remedy for some of the more common afflictions. Okay, did it use an I statement?
Yes.
Yes, so that's wrong, right? Oops, how about I get right on the right thing here? So that's wrong. Did it quick list? Did it just go, we're going to talk about A, B, C, or did it give me miniature transitional words? Miniature transitional words. And I want you to circle these little miniature transitional words for you. Okay, first they did by first, stirring up the influence. Next, we'll boil down. And finally, we'll prescribe. Anybody notice what she did with her miniature transitional phrases? What's the speech about? No. Home remedies, okay? So home remedies would be the idea that I can gargle salt water to get rid of a sore throat, or I can use duct tape to get a sliver out. That peppermint oil makes your stomach feel better. What? Mm-hmm. You can leave it on overnight. Okay, well, it depends on how deep the sliver is, but yeah. Okay, so anyway, this was what her speech was about. The idea that we use natural kinds of medicines instead of medicines you get at Walgreens. So when thinking about that we mix it up at home, what'd she do with her miniature transitional words? In what way? Look at them. First we'll stir up, next we'll boil down, and finally prescribe. Yes, she related her miniature transition words to her topic. That's something else you can do in a speech that you probably couldn't get away with in a paper. This same student did her informative speech her freshman year over the history of the Flintstones cartoons. And when she did her forecast statement, she says, today we're going to rock our way through how the Flintstones got started. Then we're going to remove the rubble and look at some of the myths surrounding the characters. And finally we'll bam, ba-bam, bam, our way through the legends of the Flintstone cartoon. So she got cutesy with it, and she did it in such a way that it related to the topic of her speech. Okay, that is completely okay in a speech. Probably wouldn't do it in a paper, but when you're up here giving a speech and you're trying to entertain your audience a little bit more, it's okay to get creative like that.
Is this going to be our hardest speech?
Well, right now you're just learning how to write a formal speech. The one that you do next will be your persuasive speech will be the hardest one. Right now you're just learning how to write them. Okay? So let's learn all the parts first before we start lamenting about how hard it is. If you feel that you're defeated, you are. Okay, so she didn't quick list, we have miniature transition words. Did she give us the main points? Yes, please circle the main points. The main points are the influence of ancient civilizations. Mark them some way different than you did the transition ones. The ingredients is their second main point. You know what they are. And the remedy for common afflictions is the other one. We know what the main points are. Okay? Does it use more than one sentence, or is it all one?
All one.
All one. Commas were her friend. Does she have the flag words? She sure does. Please mark that those are your flag words. Label that these are your flag words. And do we know the topic?
Yep.
We sure do. It's home remedies. So the only thing she did was she said I. How could she fix it? Today we will, right? It's that simple. Good. So let's look at the next one. Today we will look at why we need heroes, our strange instinct to tear them down, and the everyday heroes in our lives. Did it use an I statement?
No.
Did it quick list?
Yes.
Yes. There's no miniature transitional words, right? She just went, we need heroes, strange instinct to tear them down, and the heroes in our lives. Did it list the main points?
Yes.
Yeah. Why we need heroes was the main point, right? The instinct to tear them down was a main point, and heroes in our lives was a main point. So we know what the main points are. Is it more than one sentence? Nope. Does it have flag words? Sure does. Today we will look at, gave us our flag words. And do you know what the topic is? Yes, what is it? Heroes. Okay. Today we will discuss pseudocide.
Whoa.
Did it use an I statement? Did it quick list the main points? It didn't have any, so E, it didn't even give them to us.
F.
Is it more than one sentence?
No.
Nope. Did it forget the flag words? Nope. Flag words are right here. Did it relate it to the topic?
Yes.
What is the topic? Pseudocide, right? So we know what the topic is. So just E. What causes people to turn to pseudocide, the special planning involved behind the scheme, and why it's so hard to accomplish? Did it use an I statement? Nope. Did it quick list? Yes, it did. There's no miniature transition words. Okay? Did it list the main points? Yes, you have causes are your main points. You have the special planning is a main point, and why it's so hard to accomplish is a main point. Okay? Is it more than one sentence? Nope. Did it forget the flag words?
Yes.
Yes. And does it relate it to the topic? You know what the topic is, it's pseudocide, right? So basically the one right before and the second one need to be combined together, and then they'd have the right statement. Okay, in the next few minutes we will gossip about how the expansion of technology is causing our conversations to diminish. Secondly, we will converse how communication skills are hurting us personally. Finally, we will discuss how to better our conversations in everyday life. What's wrong with it? That's right, it's more than one sentence. Use commas, use an and. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but the reason you want that forecast to stay at one sentence, even if it's a longer sentence, you don't want to ramble in your introduction, because if you do, you'll lose your audience. So if you can keep your thesis to one sentence and your forecast to one sentence, you can keep their attention better. First, we will chuckle about the origins of it. Then we will giggle about the brain and physicality, and finally chortle about reasons why people do this. What's wrong with this one? Does it use I?
No.
Nope. Does it quick list?
No.
Does it list the main points?
Yes.
Is it more than one sentence?
Yes.
It is more than one sentence? There's only one period up there. Okay. Did it forget the flag words?
Yes.
This one's tricky. It does. She says first, but that's not really flag words. That's just a first miniature transition. So she would probably have something on here to begin with, like, today we will discuss how laughter affects our lives by first chuckling about the origins of it. She didn't really have flag words. And then that leads us to the next thing. She never actually lists,
The main point.
no, she gives the main points, the topic.
Yeah, the topic.
The topic. Okay, she got cutesy too, right? We'll chuckle about the origins of laughter, giggle about the brain and physicality, and finally chortle. So she used creative words that have to do with laughter. You could guess what the topic was, but she never said it. Okay, now you don't need to say it every time. Don't list the topic 18 times in that sentence, but at least needs to be mentioned once. Okay, so on your next page, it gives you the proficiency levels. I'm going to let you look that one over, especially the difference between a 3 and a 4. You've got your checklist on page 15. There's another checklist for the forecast at the bottom of 15. And it is your job to now do all 4 forecast statements. Okay? So if you finished your thesis statements, you're good to go. Look right here, guys. I already gave you your main points. Every one of them has the main points, so you don't have to make those up. And it's okay for you to make up like how they work and how you're going to talk about them, but the main points are already there. Okay? Go. Go, 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 gadget, go.